item is council approval of adopting code enforcement ordinance. Second read.
I make a motion to approve this ordinance.
Second.
I have a question. You come up. You gave to me a financial impact study. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Would you tell us what that financial impact study says?
What the impact it will be, it's asking for removal or putting aside $148,000 to remove it from all revenues of code enforcement have to be put aside, plus 1.5% of general fund for a total of $148,000. That is not in the budget.
We do have to establish the fund because the council directed us to. It's that simple and that plain. But I also believe that we can look at past year citations to do projections, which is the same thing that we do whenever we budget. It's not a secret that blight has been an issue for the city. And so as we find and collect and solve the issue, we will have revenues, and it just requires us to make sure we stay diligent and adjust accordingly.
So, Mr. Malaza, you said that it's hard to make a projection about the expenses?
Because we can make it from what we have collected so far.
Right, because you have made that projection.
Right, but that 100%, like last year, it was about $75,000, which you will not maybe do what you want.
No, it won't.
So it will not be enough.
So what I want people to understand is that we're talking in circles, but we ain't knocked down no houses. There are houses in Hillendale that have been blighted, Mayor, since you were county commissioner. Why haven't we knocked them down? Because we never put any money aside to do it. Is Ms. Reed here? Could you come forward, please? How much would it cost just to knock down an average house? And what are the steps? And why hasn't community development knocked down any blighted house?
So we did research to see what that average would look like nationally. So it says about a minimum of 5,000 to 15,000 based on large square footage, of course. So with that being said, depending on the square footage, that price will vary. So if you take one home per district, so take that 7 to 15,000 as the max. That'll be about, I think 105 is what I calculated. So that puts you at $105,000. So where if every year we knock down a home that's ready to be condemned, that would bring you at least one home per district.
So one home per district. And so far in the past 2 years, how many homes have we knocked down?
None.
None. It's my understanding, because I want people to understand, because I know that sometimes people think I call code enforcement over and over and over, and they're not doing anything. But actually, you've written dozens and dozens of tickets, but all that they do is result in a lien that cannot be collected on unless the house is sold. So as long as nobody sells the house, you can't collect on the lien and the house just stands there.
Correct.
It would actually take an inspection, a legal process to seize the house, and a foreclosure process. All those have to be done even before we spend the $15,000 knocking the house down. Is that why we haven't knocked any houses down in 2 years?
I can't speak on why we haven't knocked down
Okay.
homes.
So anyway, so the purpose of this ordinance, I'm going to go ahead and call the question, because the purpose of this ordinance is to stop pussyfooting around and actually put some money where our mouths are to knock down some houses. Thank you.
So he called. I have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor? That's 4-3.
No, we wait.
That's justice. That's 4-3.
So we're going to vote now. We called the previous question.
Was it a previous question? Was it a previous question?
Yes.
Okay, I'm calling for the vote. It went 4-3. It went 4-3.
So I'm gonna make I need to make a second motion. I'm going to instruct we have a first read for our budget amendment. I'm going to instruct our CFO/treasurer to find that money and put it in the second reading budget amendment.
That's what I said.
I'll move the second. All those in favor? That passed. That makes sense.